No, it's so, so true. And being in the marketing world too, like you're selling yourself. Like you are, like people are buying your service because of you. You know what I mean? So like especially when you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly selling yourself. You can have a product, they're buying you, right? So like, it's so important to be true to like who you are and being open about being a real human being and having these triumphs and up and down journeys. I think that's all part of being an entrepreneur. So
definitely.
yeah.
And it's okay not to be the best at certain things. You just need to be really good or great at one or two things. The more you learn, the more you know that you don't know things, you know?
But I do want to interrupt and say, especially when you're building, it's okay to try a little of everything because then you figure out what you're good at and what you're not, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's also part of the journey. Like, you find yourself while getting lost at the same time, if that makes any sense.
And here we go, guys.
Good thing. Most people say, damn, he's got a process.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Process.
Damn, he's got a process.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of The Process. Today, we're blessed. The queen of podcasting, Jackie Zuckerman Delroy. She used to be Zuckerman. The legendary Jay-Z is with us, but now it's JD. So yeah, guys, great episode. I want you guys to stay tuned. And the stuff that we talk about, you'll be able to implement it for your own business and for your own brand and take action on it. And that's what this whole show is about. So Jackie, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, Tash. I'm so honored to be on The Process. My name is I still use Jackie Z or Jay-Z, so you can still call me that, even though I'm married now. So I have a background in event planning and marketing, and I basically built my entire business off of social media, and that includes my podcast, which I know we're going to talk about today. So this year to date, I almost have 400,000 lifetime listeners, so it's very exciting.
That is amazing. Did you just say that you built your entire business off of social media?
Yeah.
I feel like businesses know that they need to be doing social media. They just don't know how to do it.
Right. And you're the expert. You know too.
I'm really good at just like one or two things. And that's how I think you become an expert, because you're kind of like, you fail so many times trying to do something that you finally get it. So I can kind of alleviate that pain or maybe help you get there faster when it comes to like, you know, like LinkedIn and building funnels, that sort of thing. But social media is just so huge. There's so many things that you can do. And I want to talk about like, you have great content. You have people who absolutely love you. Like you have true followers, and that in turn turns into business for what you're doing. And that's so powerful.
Thanks, Tash. Yeah, well, I feel like it's all about the personal connection because you and I go way back, which I'm so flattered we've stayed in touch and close friends for so many years.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like it's really all about the personal contact and follow-ups and connections. And I feel like that's what continues your success and keeps the loyal followers.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that like you're so genuine. It's not like you have this huge production budget and you're doing all these like insane things. You're just like, hey guys, this is what I've been through, and I want to share that with you. So that way, if you have this experience, you can kind of like maybe do what I do or learn from what I did. And I love that. I mean, you have Motivation Mondays with Jackie sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I follow your lives, and you know, I really believe that more businesses, more leaders in businesses need to be doing this type of thing, because one, it positions you as an expert, and two, it helps people. Like as an entrepreneur, I love to see what Jackie's doing, because maybe I can do it to help myself as well. And these are just little things that doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take any budget that you can be doing to help your business. And I think people, they think there needs to be like this whole big production, you know, like we need to map this out, let's script this. And then you take all that time and you don't do it anyway, you know?
Exactly. You almost put like too much thought, and then it takes away from actually acting on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's funny you brought that up because I found that just being more honest and real with people really makes people, one, feel more comfortable to talk to me, right? And hire me because they feel like I've been through that and I really feel like you can share my story and what I'm doing. So I think that's really interesting you brought that up because I think that as an expert is what makes me different because I'm always going to be real and honest with you throughout the whole process, you know?
Right. And it's so funny. It's like as a marketer, like you're judged by certain metrics like cost per click, cost per customer acquisition, ROAS, return on ad spend. But really all we're doing is generating conversations, right? With people who might be interested. So what's your cost per conversation? What is, the return on human interaction? That's really all we're doing.
It's so true. I don't even know how to answer that question. How would you even answer that question?
No, just by being genuine and being yourself. Like when you're doing videos on social media or you're posting on social media, don't just talk about the perfect times and the great times. Talk about the bad times as well.
Exactly.
People can relate to that. People can relate to the struggle. Like your life shouldn't be all peaches and roses because that's not life. That's a fantasy, right?
And nobody's life is perfect, even if it might seem on social media. It's not. It's definitely not,
Right?
That's what makes you a human being.
And that's what that allows people to relate to you and allows them to trust you with their business, right? To trust you, for them to give you a shot to take money out their pocket and give it to you. They'd rather do it with someone they believe in and someone they know is real, rather than that person who's always portraying themselves as as just perfection, because none of us are perfect, like you said.
Right. So true. And being in the marketing world too, like you're selling yourself. Like you are, like people are buying your service because of you. You know what I mean? So like especially when you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly selling yourself. You can have a product, they're buying you. Right. So like, it's so important to be true to like who you are and being open about being a real human being and having these triumphs and up and down journeys. I think that's all part of being an entrepreneur. So
definitely.
Yeah.
And it's okay not to be the best at certain things. You just need to be really good or great at one or two things. Stop trying to be like, man, like when it comes to branding your company, I'll refer you to Jackie. She does a great job at it. I don't need to be the best at that. I can ask Jackie for help. If it comes to direct response, like marketing, B2B, I might be the guy for that,
Right, exactly.
So you don't need to know everything. The more you learn, the more you know that you don't know things,
But I do want to interrupt and say, especially when you're building, it's okay to try a little of everything because then you figure out what you're good at and what you're not, Like I think that's also part of the journey. Like you find yourself while getting lost at the same time, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense. I know because I experienced it.
Exactly.
But the more you do, the more chance you have to learn. So don't be afraid to take action. Anyone that's like on the fence, like, hey, should I start my own business, or should I become an entrepreneur, or should I try this strategy to do X, Y, and Z? The answer to that is it might work, it might not, but you don't know unless you do it, right? Like you miss 100% of those shots you don't take. Yeah. So
No, I'm right there with you. Totally get it.
So do what you want to do. No, I'm just playing. So
no, that's legitimate. I think you really have to try to figure out what you're meant to do, right? So yeah.
I mean, so I want to kind of get into your podcast and talk about a little bit. I mean, I feel like we've motivated enough.
Yeah. Sure.
So like why did you first start the podcast? I remember when you told me about it and I'm like, wait, what? What are you doing?
And you were my first guest ever. You were my first guest. I will never forget that. Like almost 5 years ago now.
And I'm like, what is this podcast thing she's talking about? I'm like, sure, I'll be on it. Let's do it.
I knew I could always rely on David to pull through for me. Yeah. So basically I have a background, like I said, in event planning and promoting. I was always promoting nightclubs in the city and just promoting people all the time and like vendors and stuff like that. So I worked at a startup radio station in a local town in Massachusetts, and that's when I interviewed David, and it was a really cool experience. They kind of threw me in the fire as like a host, and they were making no money, you know? So I was like, this is great, but I just moved to Boston from New York. Like, I need to make a living and I need to figure it out now. Like, I can't wait 5 months, you know? So I ended up going on social media and YouTube, and I built a whole podcast system in my guest room closet. It's still my studio 5 years later.
Awesome.
So it's amazing what YouTube can do. I mean, you know, because you're so active on YouTube too. But I built it, and what I learned was it's a form of public relations. So I'm promoting people's businesses and services, and I'm taking a twist to it so people get to know them outside of their job, what their hobbies are, stuff like that. And it's basically like a live media feature that I offer in a form of modern PR, basically.
That's awesome. And we have another business, and it's great, phenomenal. And we get approached all the time, like, hey, we're going to put you on this show. You just have to give us $20,000.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, sure. Anytime you want it. You know, it's like, yeah, we're going to guarantee you 1 million views and this and that. Well, I know that to get 1 million views right now, that's going to cost maybe $10,000 on Facebook, and you control the entire thing. And it can be to your direct audience, people that you know that you can help. And you might not, especially for small businesses, you might not need that type of volume, right? I mean, you'll get
First of all, sorry to interrupt, Tash, but like those small businesses don't have those budgets. Like they just, the ones that like, you know what I mean? The startups, and like, that's my clientele, like startups and really small businesses. But for that type of budget, they just don't normally have that.
But not only that, but even if they let's say they scrape together the money, it's like, can you handle that lead flow? Can you capitalize on all those opportunities? Probably not. Your business, you don't have the foundation, the back-end systems to handle that type of volume. So it's almost, you just waste those opportunities. It's much better to have maybe 50 or 100, you know, instead of 1 million. That's just too much. And that's what social media allows you to do. It allows you to grow at a steady pace so that we can have the back-end systems in place and ready to finally get to that level where you're doing, you know, $10,000 marketing budgets, you know, $20,000 marketing budgets. But you have to start somewhere. And I feel like some people might be embarrassed, or they're worried about, you know, what are other people going to say, and should I be doing this? Like, it's okay. You know, I mean, there's nothing special. I mean, Jackie's a human being. I'm a human being. Like, we're doing videos, you know, you can do it too.
We pay for, you know, services to learn and grow our knowledge in our fields. That's the only way to grow, right? So I think that that's something that you have to be open to as well, like learning from experts that are doing similar things to you, you know?
And so this podcast, so we started 5 years ago. That's incredible. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Crazy.
Yeah, like I'm getting old.
No, you're not. Well, let's not think that we're getting older, Tash.
So I know, like, someone called me sir the other day, and I'm like, excuse me? What? No, but so 5 years ago, and now, like, you went on YouTube and you figured it out. I love that. Like, you took action, there was a problem, and you figured out how to solve it on your own. And that's really what an entrepreneur is, right? They go out in the world, they find a problem, and they provide a solution for it. So now fast forward till today. I mean, how many interviews? You said you've done over, what, 500?
No, I've only done I have about 220 interviews I've done.
That's amazing. That's 220 people that you've interviewed and that you've showcased, and they've benefit from the brand that you've built.
Right, exactly. And I'm sure you know, I mean, because we've been doing work for a while, but like basically the service is a paid PR service, because you're getting not only the outreach of listeners, you're also getting social media outreach, because that's basically, you almost get about 500,000 outreach I'm at this point between my social media and my podcast. So it's a fast turnover rate. Like, everything's live within a day to 48 hours max.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I really cater, and I don't just pick anyone. Like, I pick people that really want to invest in their business, and it's really cost effective for small businesses and startups. And I really want to share your story. Like, I'm not just going to half-ass and pick you to pick you. Like, I want you to realize this is an investment, you know?
And
So,
we've had a guest on this show, and he has a company that's $100 million. He has another company that's about $4 million that he's grown in the last 18 months. But podcasting and being a guest on podcasts is a huge part of his strategy, because he knows instead of him taking all that time to build an audience, he's able to borrow the audience that's already built up and showcase what he does, and that generates a ton of business for him. So if you get this opportunity to to get in touch with Jackie and get on her podcast, I highly recommend you do so. And Jackie, how do people reach you?
thanks, Tash. So you can reach me through my website at nextonscene.com, or through any of my social media channels at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also reach me through email at jackie@jzsocialenterprises.com.
All right, then D-Rock, can you please put that somewhere here?
Yeah, I'll send you the lineage too.
Awesome. So yeah, I strongly believe in podcasting and giving back. You're sharing your advice. If someone wants to start their own podcast, what's the advice that you'll give to them?
So I've actually helped several people now launch their own shows that have really taken off, which has been really rewarding to watch. I do offer consulting. I mean, that's something I started just because I've done it. You know what I mean? And I've helped a lot of people grow. But you can also learn from YouTube. I mean, YouTube is amazing. If you're looking for a DIY way to do it, it's just going to take you more time, but it's worth it in the end,
Awesome. And if there was one thing that you recommend that someone do, what would it be? I know just having that experience and being in for so long, what's one thing that you do to kind of just kind of keep that helps you with the process?
Yeah.
What's that one thing?
So I think the main thing is to figure out, first of all, what your show is going to be about, right? I think you need to brainstorm what your show is and all of that. And then once you figure all the logistics out of what your show topics are going to be, then you need to figure out where you're going to host all of your shows. People don't think about this, because when you're looking on iTunes and channels like that, there's a hosting website that stores all your MP3s, which are basically the recordings for people who don't know that technology of phrase. But it's like a hosting site because there's so much storage that goes into an MP3. So you want to make sure that you find some place that can host it.
Yeah.
And it will stream it onto, iTunes, onto Android phones, all of that stuff.
You recommend, is there a service that you recommend for that?
Yes. Podbean. I swear off of that.
Podbean.
Yeah.
Guys, Jackie just dropped something for you. If you're looking to start your own podcast or have your own show, check out Podbean.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good resource, and you definitely want to do the unlimited storage, because it allows you to do multiple podcasts without worrying that you're going to run out of storage. So.
And I have a tip for everyone as well. If you're looking to do your own shows or your own podcast, make sure you get yourself a calendar link. It will save your life.
I still need to do that, so I'm going to take your advice.
Be able to schedule things out way in advance, and half the time you're going to forget yourself, and it's like, oh wait, I'm reminded 24 hours. Oh, I have a show with Jackie. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Past David. I appreciate it.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, because I just use my calendar on my phone, but it would be I should have done this forever. You definitely told me, I just haven't. But thank you for reminding me.
Oh man. So Jack, do you have any parting words that you want to say to the audience? Anyone that's on the fence about maybe being an entrepreneur or looking for advice on how to win at social media?
I think you can't be afraid to be consistent, be repetitive every once in a while, not too much, but enough to show that you're being active. I think one of the things that I'm working on personally, building my business off social media, is taking my old shows and re-promoting them and reusing them, because that content never gets old. Why would it become old content? You know what I mean? So repurpose your content.
That is phenomenal advice, and we actually do that ourselves. It's we have a message, right? We have a certain tone, and we talk about we talk about what we know, and you might just change the headline and all of a sudden it's a new piece of content. Like little things like that. Or you might just go at it a different angle, but you don't need to, when people say create content, you don't necessarily need to go out and create it. Just document your thoughts, document what you're already doing, the problem that you're already solving. So, and then use that as content.
Right. No, it's so true. Tash, also The Process is a great show. You got to keep up and keep watching it because David has a lot of awesome information to share.
I mean, I can't imagine 200 and what was the number? 263?
What?
How many
podcasts?
Yeah.
220.
220. Wow. I think we're at 9 at this point.
But you just started this.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to get to 243.
I mean, I'm also 5 years in, it's a little different.
We'll see if we want to get, and and our strategy for these, like instead of having 223 different guests, like we just want to bring on people that we know are fabulous, phenomenal at what they do, and we'll just have them on multiple times because Jackie might think of something in the next couple of days and we bring her back 3 months from now and she can share that with you. That's valuable, So that's our philosophy. And we invite you to do your own thing and start your own show and really do your passion and do what you love.
I totally agree. I think audio, a lot of people take, they forget about it, and audio is so powerful and it forever will be. So you have to keep that going. And that's why podcasts are so valuable, even more than radio shows now, because you can listen to them whenever you want.
Yeah.
Like, they don't go away. Like you have them in your back pocket.
Exactly. And I listen to a podcast every day on my way to work.
See, that's the thing. Exactly. That's when I listen to them too.
So guys, thank you so much. This has been another episode of The Process, and we'll see you guys next week. Okay.